I'm Madison, 34. Standing in the boardroom, the tension was palpable as I watched the shock and disbelief wash over the faces of Richard Thompson and his daughter, Isabella. I had just terminated our family company's long-standing contract with their luxury real estate firm, Thompson Estates. The room erupted in chaos, but I stood firm, my resolve unshaken. My family, the Harpers, has a long-standing construction business, Harper Construction. My father, Henry Harper, started it 40 years ago with a small crew and big dreams. He built it into one of the most respected construction companies in the Midwest. My mother, Eleanor, is a traditional woman who values family harmony above all else. She's always been more concerned with social status and appearances. I've always been the practical one in the family. After getting my MBA from a top-tier business school, I came back to run the financial side of the company. I worked long hours, negotiated tough contracts, and made sure our books were in order. Meanwhile, my brother, Ryan, who is 37, was the charming one. He had a natural charisma that made people like him instantly. He held the title of Vice President of Client Relations, but in reality, he took credit for deals I'd worked hard on. My father always favored Ryan. "Ryan brings in the clients," he'd say. "People respond to his charm. That's just as important as your number crunching, Madison." I'd bite my tongue, knowing that without my financial acumen, the company would have crumbled long ago. Things took a turn when Ryan announced his engagement to Isabella Thompson. The Thompsons were old money in the real estate world. Thompson Estates controlled a large part of the high-end market in our area. For the past 4 years, Harper Construction had an exclusive contract with them, worth millions. I'd personally negotiated the last renewal, getting us better profit margins. When Ryan and Isabella announced their engagement at a family dinner, my mother was over the moon. "This is a dream come true. A business and a family merger," she gushed. I forced a smile, but a knot formed in my stomach. Isabella always seemed calculating, like she saw our family business as a project to be managed. As the wedding preparations progressed, I started noticing the subtle signs of disrespect. At the engagement party at the Thompson mansion, I was introduced as Ryan's sister who works for the family business. Despite being the CFO who tripled the company's revenue in 6 years, people's eyes would glaze over as the conversation shifted to wedding plans. I overheard Isabella's mother, Victoria, saying to someone, "The Harpers have potential, but they lack sophistication. Especially the sister. She's so focused on work, she has no social life." I tried to ignore these comments, but as the wedding got closer, the red flags multiplied. Isabella would call me at work with trivial questions about Ryan's preferences, interrupting important meetings. And when I offered to help with the wedding planning, she politely declined, saying she had professionals handling it. 2 months before the wedding, I sat down with Ryan for lunch to express my concerns. "I feel like things are changing between us, Ryan. And I'm worried about Dad's health. He looks so tired lately." Ryan sighed and checked his watch. "You're overthinking, Madison.
Dad's fine.
And yes, things are changing. I'm getting married. That's normal." I tried to explain my worries about the Thompsons and their plans for our company after the wedding. His face hardened. "You're just jealous, Madison. You've always thought you deserve more credit. Well, after the wedding, there'll be some changes at Harper Construction. The Thompsons have ideas that will take us to the next level, and Dad agrees." The morning of Ryan and Isabella's wedding was picture-perfect, as if the Thompsons had arranged the weather. I spent extra time getting ready, but when I arrived at the venue, I was immediately pulled into solving vendor problems. I missed the pre-ceremony champagne toast and the moment when my father saw Ryan in his tuxedo for the first time. At the reception, things got even worse. When it was time for dinner, I couldn't find my name on any of the place cards in the main reception area. A waiter finally told me I was seated in the kitchen annex. It was a small room next to the catering kitchen, where the staff took breaks. I stood there, stunned. This wasn't an oversight. It was a deliberate humiliation. Victoria approached me with a fake smile. "Isabella thought you'd be more comfortable here, dear. You're so good at handling details, and we needed someone near the staff." I looked past her to where Ryan sat at the head table, laughing with Isabella and her parents. I tried to talk to Ryan, but he brushed me off, saying I should just handle it for the sake of the wedding. That night, as I drove home, I was filled with a mix of anger and hurt. I decided to dig deeper into the company's finances and discovered something shocking. Over the past 2 years, Ryan had been diverting funds from our company to Thompson Estates projects. When I confronted my father, he admitted that he'd authorized it, thinking it was an investment in the company's future with a Thompson connection. He also revealed that they'd been discussing a merger where Thompson Estates would absorb Harper Construction and my position would be eliminated. I was devastated. All my hard work, all the sacrifices I'd made for the company, were about to be thrown away. But I wasn't going to let it happen. I remembered a termination clause in the contract with Thompson Estates that I'd insisted on. It allowed either party to terminate the contract with 30 days notice in case of significant corporate restructuring. I reached out to key employees and, to my relief, most of them were on my side. They'd also noticed the unfair treatment and the shady dealings with the Thompsons. I also contacted a development company, Greenfield Enterprises, that had been trying to partner with us for years, but was always rebuffed by my father because of his loyalty to the Thompsons. The day of the Thompson Estates Showcase event, I put my plan into action. I placed the termination notice on Victoria's desk and called an emergency board meeting at Harper Construction. When everyone gathered, I presented the evidence of Ryan's financial misconduct and the secret merger plans. The room was in an uproar. Ryan was furious, Isabella was livid, and the Thompsons were shocked. My father looked torn, but in the end, he saw the truth. He apologized to me for not seeing my worth earlier and supported my decision to terminate the contract. In the aftermath, Thompson Estates stock plummeted, and their showcase event was a disaster. My mother was initially angry with me, saying I'd ruined Ryan's marriage and the family's reputation. But as time passed, she started to see the truth. Ryan's marriage to Isabella fell apart. He realized that he'd been used by the Thompsons. He came back to the company, humbled, and asked to start over, focusing on real client relationship building. A few months later, a young man named Ethan Thompson, Isabella's younger brother, came to my office. He told me that Thompson Estates was in serious trouble. His father had overextended on several projects, assuming the merger with Harper Construction would save them. Ethan was tired of his family's manipulative ways and wanted to make amends. He had a background in sustainable building design and offered to work for us. I was hesitant at first, but I saw the sincerity in his eyes. I decided to give him a chance. Hiring him was a symbolic move, showing that we were moving forward and not letting the past define us. Now, a year later, Harper Construction is thriving. We've partnered with Greenfield Enterprises on several successful projects. Ryan has found his true calling in client relations, and my mother has become more supportive of my work. The wounds in our family are slowly healing, and I've learned that standing up for myself was the best decision I ever made.